Hello, beautiful humans, and welcome to Growing Through It, a podcast dedicated to bringing you clarity so that you can harness your curiosity and be the creator of your life. Hosted by me, Shanae Rowe. Hey, ya, beautiful people, and welcome back to the podcast. Thank you for joining me for episode 21. This one is all about what it means to have agency and how to cultivate a life with you in the driver's seat. So I'm sure you guys know by now that I am all about encouraging people to live their best lives, to live a life that is in alignment with, who you are, because we're all so different and we're all, individuals with our different sets of values and beliefs, and we have different passions and different purposes. And I'm all about encouraging people and giving people, the motivation and the tools to go and make the choices that they need to make in order to live that beautiful life. Because that's what we all deserve. And so agency, actually, I hadn't heard the term until maybe a month or so ago. But agency is about, your own power to affect your future. And I feel like a lot of us forget that we do have control and we do have the choice to make decisions in our own life. Sometimes we sort of sit back and take that, the back seat in our own existence. And we forget that life isn't just something that happens to us. Like, we can't just let life happen and unfold however, which way that it's supposed to. Like, life is actually something that we're also creating, that we need to have agency in and have the courage and the capacity to make choices that lead our lives down the directions that we want to take. Like, so that is what agency is. It's realizing that you have a choice in every scenario that you are presented with, and you have the power to affect your future in whichever way you want to. And sort of once I heard the term agency, I was like, you know what, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, that's what I talk about when I always talk to people about, your life is yours. You have the choice to make. Like, you can sit back and sort of be a little bit dissatisfied with your life, or you can get out there and do some really scary but brave things and create the life that you want to create. So I've given the term a little bit of thought as well after hearing it. And I think agency is you're making life happen with the cards that you're dealt. You're not sitting back, you're not playing victim, and you're not wishing that you had better or that you had more. Because, I think at times we do forget that if we are unhappy with how our life is going, or if we're feeling unfulfilled or dissatisfied, we forget that we actually have the power to make a choice, like to make a change if we're not comfortable with what we're experiencing, or not comfortable if we're not really happy with how our lives are turning out or the direction that they're taking. We actually have that choice to we have that choice to make a change. And it can seem scary and it can seem like it's not even possible, but there are always small choices to make in our lives so that we can get back on track. We can, turn down a different path. Agency it's sort of that realization that, maybe you haven't been given the best opportunities, or maybe you haven't made the most of the situations that you've been in, or, maybe you've had a tough, couple years, but you're making the choice to use that as fuel for you to go and create the life you want. You're not sitting back in your own life and being like, oh, poor me, like, it really sucks that this happened to me, or, I wish that I had what they had. I wish I was, I don't know, born in a different country, or I wish that I went to a better school so that I could have had better learning opportunities and so I could have learnt more. Like, it's not feeling bad about ourselves or wishing that our experience was better than it was, but it's appreciating what we've got and all the things that have made us us, and then doing the best that we can with that skill set or with our perspective, right? And having agency is making the choice to still go after what you want and believe that you deserve what you want in your life, no matter who you are, where you come from, what you've been through. I was doing a little bit of research on agency and what it means and how to create agency, I guess. And I found a bit of information from a leading psychologist in the field of like studying agency, Albert Bandura, and he stated that people with agency are self-organizing, they're proactive, they're self-regulating and self-reflecting. And he also went on to say that they are producers of their life circumstances, they're not just the products of them, which I thought was really hard hitting because, I think I have definitely been in a place where I have thought that I am just, the product of my life. I am what happens to me. And for quite a long time, I didn't have the understanding that we can actually go and produce what we want out of life. Like we can actually create that. Rather than just sit back and let the world take us on a ride. Honestly, I think like all through school, I had that belief that, life is just happening. Life is just sort of like you go to school and you go to uni and you get a job and maybe you travel a little bit in there and you have a family and you retire and you die. And I sort of was. I sort of was living through the motions of that was going to happen, and that's what life was. So I am just like a person experiencing that, I'm a person just like doing what everyone else is doing. But yeah, I think there comes a time when you realize, and I think it comes when you're going through a little bit of a challenging period where you realize that you actually have a choice in what you're doing. You have a choice in how you feel about things. You have a choice in deciding what you want to happen. And you have a choice of saying no to what you have been told should happen and saying yes to the unknown and creating a life that feels better for you. I think a lot of us are in that place where we've forgotten that we can produce situations, we can produce events and environments. We can go out there and make a choice in what we want from our lives and from the world. So when you think about it, like having agency is incredibly powerful. It helps you be aligned with who you are and it helps you create the life that you want to create, and you're not just sitting back and doing what everyone else is doing or doing what you're told, or you're not sitting back wishing that you lived differently or you had traveled more or that you had, done more things. You're actually realizing that they're needs that you want, and you're going out there and you're making the choices to get them. And I kind of had this little thought of agency is kind of like being in the driver's seat. Like if you have agency, you are in the driver's seat of your own car. So say you're going on a little cruise in your car, and this cruise is actually the journey of your entire life, okay? And the path that you follow is just, is the road. It is the decisions that you make to get you to where you want to be in life, okay? And I think agency is being in the driver's seat. You're following the roads, but you actually get the choice to pull over, right? If you're if you're driving on this beautiful hilly mountain and there's lookouts, like you get the choice to stop and pull over and admire those lookouts. You get the opportunity to explore beautiful little towns that you drive through. You get the opportunity to stop and connect with people, with strangers, and have conversations. You have the opportunity to pick up hitchhikers on your little journey and talk to them about their lives and hear about their stories and things. Like when you're in the driver's seat, when you have agency, you get to make the choice to use your environment as a way to learn and find new ideas. You get the choice, right? The choice is completely yours, whether or not you take on new opportunities and new information. right? You can drive past certain things if you don't feel like you want to stop at a look at, if you don't want to go on a little hike on this little journey, okay? You don't have to, but you get that choice if you want to or not, right? You have the opportunity, and the agency is you knowing that you have the choice. It's making that choice. Whereas when you're in the passenger seat, you're not driving. You don't get that opportunity to stop and pull over, right? You're just going from A to B. You're getting from where you started to where you want to go. And if you think about that in terms of like the cruise in your car is actually the journey of life. You've got that mindset that you're going from A to B, and you have no say in what happens to you, and you're just kind of accepting what comes, but you're not actually getting out there and choosing what comes. Like you don't have that choice. You don't have a choice at where to stop. You don't have the choice of stopping at little towns. You don't have the choice to pull over on the side of the road and pick up a hitchhiker. Like you don't have those little learning opportunities as you would if you have that agency. If you're in the driver's seat, you are actively making choices that impact your life. Whereas if you feel like life is just like there to happen, you're just a person and you're here to float through life, like you don't have that agency. You don't have that drive to want to learn, to want to be better, to use your environment as a way to learn more and develop things so that you can make different choices about your life and lead it down the trajectory that you want it to go on. And so often I see people in the position of the passenger seat rather than the driver's seat in their own life. They are lacking that agency. They're lacking that ability to see that they have the power to affect their future. They're sort of letting things come to them, and they're sort of letting things come to them while wishing that they had something else, but not actually sitting down and making that tough decision to put in the effort to go and get those things that they're wishing for. They're just sitting and hoping and waiting and praying for something spectacular to happen in their life, or they're waiting for the day that they feel better, for the day that they feel more fulfilled or satisfied or content, instead of having that conversation with themselves about, their life isn't going to happen unless they make the choices to get them to where they want to go. And I see it too often. And I used to be like that. I used to have that idea of I didn't have a choice. Everything just presented itself to me. And I guess in a way, like it is about letting things come to us, but it's also about having that agency to create what we want to create. It's sort of about finding this balance of not trying to force things to happen and really trusting that opportunities will come to us when we need them or when we're ready for them. But it's also about going out there and making the choices to get us to places that we want to go. It's, we're finding that balance. But yeah, I definitely used to play victim in my own life, to feel like, life wasn't going the way I wanted it to, and poor me. And I wish that I was, doing something else or doing something better or doing what these people are doing. And honestly, you just need to have that the drive to want to create that. You need that agency. So how do we cultivate agency? How do we, if we're still in that passenger seat and we're not in the driver's seat of our own life at the moment, how do we get there? How do we become the creator of our lives? How do we cultivate that agency? And I think the first thing to do is to visualize, spend some time to visualize what you want. Imagine what your life is going to look like. What do you want? What are the values that you live by? And what kind of lifestyle aligns with that? What are the things that you're working towards? Whether that is work or study or traveling or saving up money to buy a house or anything. Like, what are you working towards, and how does your life look? How does your life look and feel, and what are the things that you're dreaming of and hoping to achieve in this lifetime, right? Visualize it, imagine it, feel it. The second thing to cultivate agency is we need to have a little bit of intentionality. We need to find where the disconnect is between the life that we're currently living and the life that we're visualizing. Where is the places that we don't feel aligned? Where is the disconnect? And then I think it's important to ask ourselves the question of why aren't we making the choice to go after what it is that we want, what it is that we're working towards? Why aren't we actively making that choice to go and do those things, or, put in the effort to get a promotion at work, or put in the effort to learn more about traveling internationally, put in the effort to get good grades at school? Like, then think to yourself, like, why do you need to? Why are you wanting to get that promotion at work? Where is it going to lead you if you do? Are you going to have more financial abundance so that you can, go and buy a house or go traveling or any of those things? Why do you want to learn more about traveling? Like, is it going to be easier for you to navigate when you do start traveling? Are you going to know how to overcome problems because you've learned a little bit about it, because you're prepared? Like, and I think understanding where the disconnect is between our reality and our vision, and then honestly, like, having a conversation with ourselves about why we're not trying, or, why we're not putting in the effort to achieve those things. That gives us a purpose. It gives us sort of a little bit of drive to go and create what we want to create, because we know the why. We know why we're not making the decision. We know why we're not making choices that are going to improve our lives. And then we know why we want to. Having this little bit of intention, it gives our visions and our dreams a meaning and a purpose. So that the third thing we can do is take action. If we feel like what we're doing, or what we want to be doing, what we want to achieve, has a purpose, then we're more likely to take action. And I think to cultivate agency, we 100%, like, the whole aspect of agency is taking action. It's committing to something. It's us being deliberate and acting on the things that we want to achieve. It's the things that we want to do, and then putting in the effort to actually do them. Our intention motivates us towards our goals, and action is all about us no longer honestly being able to sit back and be in the passenger seat. Action is when we're like, you know what I'm doing right now is not getting me to the places I want to go, and I'm sick of feeling bad about myself and wishing that I had more, or wishing that I was doing this, or hoping that I one day would get where someone else is. And I'm honestly committing and putting in the effort to take action, to get myself in the driver's seat, to steer my life exactly where I want it to go. And it's no longer feeling bad about what we don't have. And it's no longer feeling like we're just on the ride, instead of knowing that we are driving, we are creating the ride. We're creating the drive, the journey. That's our purpose. And I think the fourth thing is self-reflection. That really helps us cultivate that sense of agency in our lives, because we're able to evaluate our motives, our values, and our life goals. We can reflect on why we're doing the things we do, why we're chasing after these big dreams and big goals, and we're able to reflect on whether these dreams and goals align with our values anymore. Because as we continue on our drive, we're taking on board new perspectives and ideas, and our values are shifting and changing. And so when we have that self-reflection, we're able to reevaluate what we want from our lives, and why we're doing it, and what we need, and then pivot towards choosing things that are better aligned with that. A big part of having agency in our life is being able to self-reflect on who we are and what we want. And I think self-reflection is really important as well, because it allows us to address conflicts between what we want and what's stopping us. Thinking back to what agency is, and it's actually realizing that we have a choice. When we're able to self-reflect, we have the ability to see what we want, and then what parts of us are stopping us. honestly, I think that having agency is such an important part of, our growth and our journeys. And when we have agency, we have this deeper confidence in ourselves. When we're actively making decisions about where we want our lives to go, we are confident in who we are, and we are confident in our abilities to achieve those things. I think the scary part, when we forget that our life is ours, I think when we forget that we are indeed the creators of our lives, we feel like making decisions about our lives is scary. And if we don't have that confidence in our own ability, then we don't trust our judgment. So it's almost like, how can we believe that we can make good decisions about our lives when we don't even know that there are decisions there for us to make? We don't know that we have a choice. So, of course, we're not going to be motivated to make decisions to change our lives, because the thought of doing it is scary when we don't yet know that we actually have the power to shape our lives, to invent our physical reality. Then doing so is incredibly daunting, and it doesn't feel like a possibility. But yeah, there comes a time when you realize that the power lies within you. You have the ability to affect your own future by making those choices and knowing that you have choices to make. You no longer want to sit back and let the world consume you. You don't want to be miserable about the job you're working, or miserable that you haven't gone and seen the world, or miserable that you don't have a beautiful house to live in anymore. Like, there comes a time when you are just so over feeling bad about feeling bad, I guess, and you don't want to wish for things anymore, that you realize that you have a choice, and then that choice is agency. And those choices are you aligning with what you want and what you need, and you're cultivating a life that you deserve, where you are in the driver's seat. And I think when that happens, when that moment happens, your life becomes really beautiful and abundant, and you realize that you're on your own path and you're doing what you want, and it's really fulfilling, and you don't have that sense of, you know, disconnect anymore, or discontentment. But yeah, that is agency, and that is how to cultivate agency within you and within your life, and it's how to step out of the passenger seat and get into the driver's seat and just live a fucking awesome life. So thank you all for listening. Hope you've enjoyed. Hope you found something valuable and useful in that. If you did, please share it with people that you care about, or someone that you think is going to benefit from it. And I will see you guys next week. Love you all. But yeah, I'm going to leave you with what I always leave you with at the end of every episode, and for the last 21 episodes, and that is, the world is waiting for you. So get on out there and enjoy your big, beautiful life. Bye.